Hey grippers, welcome back to the Death Grip Garage. Is vibration ruining your dual sport and adventure rides? In this video, I'll walk you through my proven recipe of relatively low-cost solutions to address this annoying issue. I can put up with some vibration while racing or riding single track over shorter distances, but it drives me crazy on a long ride. Numb hands, numb feet, numb butt. It's not only uncomfortable, but it can be dangerous and it can lead to some long-term health issues like carpal tunnel and things like that. We're going to talk about 3 different vibration points on a motorcycle. We're going to talk about handlebars, we're going to talk about seat, we're going to talk about foot pegs. I'm personally most picky about handlebar vibration, so we'll put a lot of focus there. We're going to be walking through these tricks on this 2018 KTM 350 EXCF, but it can apply to any dirt bike, dual sport, or adventure type motorcycle. I have these same mods on my XR650L and some similar mods on my BMW GS. While this 350 is certainly not one of the worst bikes for vibration out there, and I think it's quite a bit better than the 500s, it does have some vibration, and with the changes that I've made, I've got the handlebars now as smooth as they are on my 1250 GS. I'm not promising that these tips will eliminate vibration by any means. Some bikes are inherently paint shakers, and really the only way you can fix those bikes is to get rid of them. But these mods will certainly make an improvement. And a quick warning, a lot of these tricks are going to add some weight to the bike, so if you're really conscious about that, then you're going to want to skip them. But for dual sport and adventure type riding, I think they're worth it. If this video is helpful, please remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. You guys know the drill. Let's go. I'm going to walk through these mods in a rough priority order. I think the number one thing that you can do to improve vibration on your dual sport and ADV bike is to balance the wheels, especially if you have a KTM. KTM stock wheels have the valve stem and the rim lock on the same side of the wheel, which might help with changing tires, but it creates a huge imbalance in the wheel. I've seen unbalanced rear wheels on KTMs so out of balance that they're hopping, and I can see air underneath them going down the highway. So you want to balance the wheel. You can see because of the rim lock and the valve stem being on the same side, you can see it takes quite a bit of weight to get this wheel balanced. I'm using some wheel weights that I got off of Amazon. I've got a link in the description. They work really slick. They've got a set screw, puts them onto the spoke nipple. The other thing I like to do, especially on the KTMs, because they're so out of balance, is I use a lightweight rim lock. I've got a link to a Motion Pro rim lock that I like to use in the description that you can find. I'll show you real quick here the difference between an aftermarket wheel and a KTM wheel. So here's my Tusk wheel that I set up for dual sport. You can see that the stem is opposite from the rim lock. So these are already naturally balanced to a certain extent, and they take a lot less weight to get them balanced out. So this is my Tusk rim. The other thing, in addition to balancing the wheels that can help with vibration while we're talking about wheels, is your tires. So this tire here is my off-road tire. It's a Dunlop Geomax M3 MX3S. So this is what I'm using for single track racing. And this is a Tusk D-Sport. This D-Sport tire has a lot closer pattern to it, and it produces a lot less vibration going down the road. So even the tires that you run can make a difference for vibration. My second favorite modification are these Crampbuster bar end weights. They're really easy to put on for your dual sport rides and then take off if you're doing single tracker and you don't want the weight on there. But they add just a little bit of weight to the outside, and it really helps with your bar vibration. They'll fit over pretty much any wraparound handguard. So I know they'll fit, these are Sick Ass Racing. I know they'll fit over G2. I know they'll fit over Cycra. This gap, or this slot that's in the back of them, are 3/4 of an inch wide. So if your handguard bar is 3/4 of an inch or less, they should slide right over the end of that. And they just bolt right into the same threaded insert that you have for your handguards. Which, while we're talking about that, another little quick tip on the side, if you're using those expandable type inserts for holding on your handguards, there's such a better way. And it's by using these threaded inserts. These are bulletproof designs, and I've got a link in the description to them. But to install these, basically you can get a kit that has this big tap. I think this is a 5/8 inch tap. You can get the kit with the tap or without the tap. But you take this, you've got aluminum handlebars. It's very easy to put those threads in there, and then you can run this insert in there. Use a little bit of red Loctite on that. That'll set up. And then when you're bolting on your handguards and or these weights that you're going to add to help improve vibration, you're going right into a threaded end instead of using all those crazy expander things that go in there. Really like these. I'll do another video of installing these on a buddy's bike here coming up soon. Our next modification after the Barkbuster bar end weights is I like to put a little bit of lead shot in the end of the handlebars. I don't fill the entire handlebar. I just put some in the end. The Barkbuster end weights, I take those off for single track and some things like that. Try to reduce a little bit of weight and a little bit of width in the bars. This is a mod that I leave in all the time. So to do this, I take a 5/8 inch rubber plug. You could use a cork. These are available at a hardware store. Take the bolt out, push that in 5, 6, 7, 8 inches. You can play with that a little bit if you want to go with a little bit less weight, see how that feels. And then if you want to add some more weight later, you can just push that in a little bit farther and add some more weight. For lead shot, this is what the lead shot looks like. Little tiny small lead BBs. And where I found the lead shot to use, it's on Amazon. I've got a link in the description, but they are these scuba diving weight bags. So this is a 3-pound bag. You can get 1, 2, 3, probably bigger than that. I've got a link in the description for these. Just cut the bag open. Those little BBs are in there. Push in your stopper to the depth that you want, and then you use your hand or a small funnel, and you can pour that lead shot in there. You want that to be fairly packed in there so that it's not moving around on you, and then put your bolt back in. So that works really well. Big fan of doing that, and I've done that on pretty much all my motorcycles, and I've seen an improvement every time. Next, let's talk about grips. So on the KTM, there's the lock-on grips, or usually they use the lock-on grips. So these are ODI Rogue grips, and I've got a link in the description for these. Love these grips. They're squishy, but they don't tear my hands up. They're great for long day rides. So big fan of the ODI Rogue grips. If you're trying to reduce some vibration, it's a good solution for that. I use a little bit different grip if I'm gluing them on, and it's what I've got on my XR650L. So let's walk over there and take a look at what I've got on the XR. Over here on the XR650L, we've got regular glue-on grips, and if I'm not going to use the ODI lock-on grips, then I really like these Pro Grip 714s. I've got a link in the description for those. Highly recommend safety wiring those on, but these are a great alternative to the Rogues if you don't have the ability to do a lock-on grip. So these are great. And while we're here, let's talk a little bit about the Crampbuster. I do use a Crampbuster on dual sport rides. If it's really technical, I'll pull it off and throw it in my backpack or in a saddlebag. But for easy gravel type of stuff, or if I'm on a highway section, this thing can be a lifesaver when it comes to vibration, because it just gives you a chance to relax your hand. You're able to run the throttle with basically almost no hand at all. You're just using the back of your palm there. So think about one of these. It's easy to carry around, and especially if you've got a long highway slog at the end of a ride or something like that, throw this guy on there, and it can be a lifesaver for your throttle hand. Your left hand you can take off and relax it a little bit if you got a lot of vibration, but your throttle hand you got to hold on all the time. So this can be a lifesaver on a long straight section or a less technical section. Still working on reducing vibration in the handlebars and making sure our hands are comfortable. I like to wear some gloves with a little bit of gel in the palm. I've found that these to be beneficial. This particular pair of gloves these are actually some mountain bike gloves. I do some mountain bike riding and discovered these and found out they work really well, especially in the summertime for dual sport riding. These are Fox Ranger gel gloves. I've got a link in the description for these. They work with a touch screen, but they've just got a little bit of gel in the palm. A lot of times I won't wear these all day, but more at the end of a long day, or if my other gloves have gotten dirty or sweaty, I might switch to these. But if you don't mind having a little bit of gel in your palm, that's another trick that'll help with vibration in the bars. Lastly, while we're up here on the handlebars, I wanted to talk a little bit about bar mounts. So these are the BRP rubber mounted bar mounts that I've got on this bike, along with the Scott Stampner. I know some folks use Mako 360, and there's several other options. In my opinion, these help with shocks in the handlebars, like on a rocky trail or something like that. But in my opinion, they don't do a lot for reducing vibration. So if you're going after vibration reduction, I don't know if that's really a solution for that. I would say the same thing about Flexx bars like we had over on the XR650L. I bought those thinking they might help with vibration. I think they definitely help comfort, all-day comfort, especially in rocky terrain. but to me, they didn't really cut back on the vibration at all. So think about that when you're thinking about your different mods and different things you're doing to try to reduce vibration. Again, I think they help with rocky terrain, but not a huge help as far as reducing vibration. Moving down to the foot pegs, it's really our second point of contact when it comes to vibration on the bike. Truthfully, there's not a lot that I do for foot pegs. There are rubber mounted foot pegs, and some adventure bikes come with rubber mounted inserts. I don't like those. I really want a good feel. I want good grip here. And a lot of times those rubber mounted or the rubber cushioned pegs really don't provide that same level of feel. So I use regular off-road foot pegs without any type of cushioning there. The one thing I think you can do though is when you choose your boots, choose something that's got more of a softer sole. A lot of motocross boots have very, very hard soles, and then that transmits that vibration out of the foot pegs right up into your foot. This is a Guerney oil balance boot. These are what I use for dual sport. And before you start commenting, yes, I know these aren't as protective as motocross boots. My next set of boots, I'll probably go to something that's got a little bit more protection than these do. I will say that these are super comfortable, been very waterproof, and this is right now, this is my go-to boot. And I've got a link to these in the description for you. So Guerney oil balance boots, but really what you're looking for is you're looking for a boot that's got a little bit softer, more pliable sole on it, so that some of the vibration that's coming out of your foot pegs is soaked up by the sole of the boot. So whatever you're choosing, whether it be the Guerneys or something else, look for something that's got a little more cushion to it, and that'll help with vibration as well. While we're down here, one other quick thing I can talk about. I've moved to using the plastic skid plates on my motorcycles. Especially for dual sport and that sort of thing. They tend to vibrate a lot less, especially if you've got a fastener that's a little bit loose. This is actually the KTM skid plate on the 350 here. It goes on really easy, comes off really easy, and you don't get near as much, it's not really a vibration thing, but you don't get as much noise coming back versus an aluminum plate. And you don't get any weird vibrations or harmonics off the plastic like you can with an aluminum one. I have an aluminum skid plate on the XR650L. I've done a lot of work to make sure it doesn't create any vibration. I've got some weather stripping padding between the skid plate and the frame to keep that from happening. But I've started, on the race bikes and on this 350, I've went to the plastic skid plates, and they've seemed to hold up just fine. And again, they don't reflect that noise as much, and they don't reflect vibration back as much. Our last point of contact we're going to talk about is the seat. So you get vibration through the handlebars, you get vibration through the foot pegs, you also get vibration through the seat. KTMs especially, they come with rock hard, narrow, off-road, motocross type seats. And a good upgrade is to go to a more comfortable seat if you're going to be doing dual sport rides. So this is I would say the gold standard for seats on the KTM is a seat concept seat. This is the Comfort XL. I think that one is just slightly narrower, but this is the Comfort XL in the stock height. Even though I'm 6'2", I felt like the stock height, I didn't want to have to reach any farther to the ground than I needed to, so I went with the stock height. What I really was surprised about on this seat, it's way more comfortable than the stock seat for those long rides. But I found that I thought I'd be switching back and forth and putting the stock seat back on for trail rides and single track racing. But I don't. I leave the seat on all the time. What I really like is this flare right here. I thought this would kind of get in the way in a single track situation, but actually I really like it because it's one more thing that lets my inner thighs grab against as I'm climbing a hill, going down a hill, just trying to lock into the bike. It's almost like a steg pegs, if you guys are familiar with those. But you can really lock in against that flare, and I haven't found a situation where I felt like the seat was in the way. So really happy with that seat. Much more comfortable, helps reduce the vibration in your butt. One last thing when we're talking about our butt. So I also wear padded shorts. I do some bicycling as well, and so I'm familiar with bicycle shorts. Some people, they're a little too much. I really like this brand here. This is the Zoic brand. I've got a link in the description for these. I've also got a link in the description that'll help you get to the seat concept seat. But these Zoic shorts actually have a fairly thin pad compared to some of the others, and I really like these. I can wear these all day, super comfortable. Doesn't feel like I have a bunch of material wadded up in my crotch. So really like these. Between wearing some padded shorts and having a decent seat, that really helps to reduce some of the vibration that you're going to get right here off the seat and into your butt. If you guys have any proven modifications that help with vibration, I would love to hear your solutions in the comments. If this video was helpful, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Experience is priceless, but I'm sharing it for free. Become a gripper and subscribe. This channel will cover a lot of great dual sport and adventure riding content, along with some focused modification and maintenance videos for KTM EXCFs, Honda XR650Ls, and BMW GSs. I've included product links in the description. Using those will help support my channel and future content. If you take advantage of any of the suggestions I've made during this video, you can thank me by using those links in the description. They won't cost you anything, but I may get a little something in it for my time. I like to end my videos with a toast. If there's no risk, there's likely no story. Cheers.